The following production is brought to you by the Talkin Buds Leafs Show.
Here we go, Talkin Buds Leafs Show. I think if you polled the fan base and based on the main discussion point in the media right now, a lot of people would probably say that the biggest talking point around this Leaf team currently is Joe Woll and his .961 save percentage, and that is a massive talking point. And if you wanted to argue it was the biggest one, you could make a legitimate case for it. But I'm sorry. William Nylander is arguably one of, if not the best wingers in the game right now. And he's doing it night after night after night after night.
Yes. The classic bet on yourself. In the offseason, discussing how much money the guy wants. I think I even said, I don't know, there's not enough room. We can't pay this guy that money, and he's just shoving it all up our asses right now. Because he's the best player on the team by a mile. And have you ever seen, we need to get one of those SO medals. House League SO medals for the most improved. Have you ever seen an NHL hockey player who was already, pretty elite to start with, just continually get better year after year after year after year? It's pretty... it's almost like Matthews has peaked already, and he's not, and he's never gonna have that same season that he had a couple seasons ago. William Nylander, it's the best is yet to come for this guy.
I don't want to go down beat this horse into the ground, but when I look at William Nylander, I come back to the thing I've said. There's 2 points I've made about him continuously. One is I think that he is a massive sort of study in confidence. This guy's confidence is through the roof right now. You look at the goal in Dallas that he set Morgan Rielly up with. He went in there and out-battled two guys for the puck, got it back, made a move.
Made another guy like an idiot.
Put it right on Rielly's tape. And it's just you can see the exuding confidence coming from him. And the second one is maturity. And what I mean by maturity is I think sometimes we forget how young these guys are when they come into the league. And how you come in the league, you're playing guys who are way older than you. It's super intimidating. You haven't fully come into your...
I think everybody matures at a different rate, though.
Yes. And Babcock used to always talking about men playing against men and man strength. And that's what William Nylander is right now. He's a veteran player in the league. And he plays like it. It's really, really, really incredible to see. And you've got John Tavares right there with him. They both have 11 points through the first couple weeks of the season. And I think I don't want to take away from Johnny because we gave Johnny his flowers last week about how every night you check the score sheet and there he is. But William Nylander is a force, and John Tavares has sort of nestled perfectly in with him. And the two of them... And again, I feel like I need to come on here and continuously eat crow for my take at the beginning of the season that I was sick of seeing those two play together because they're Matthews and Marner Matthews is scoring and Marner got one against Dallas, but they are carrying this team's offense. You could make an argument that Tavares, Marner, Bertuzzi is their first line right now from a production standpoint.
You mean Nylander?
Yeah, sorry. Tavares, Nylander, Bertuzzi.
Yeah I'm of the belief, I know John has a great start and has all those points, but I'm of the belief that Nylander, you could throw anybody on Nylander's line right now. Take Tavares off it, replace it with two other guys, and I feel like he would be producing at the same clip. I think he's the absolute driver of that line. I think Tavares is just getting in his spots where he can... he really is a guy where if you just put him in his spot where he can be successful, which is in and around the net, and give him the opportunity to shoot, the guy can still put the puck and put the biscuit in the basket. There's no two ways about it. But I think Nylander is the best player on this hockey team right now, more than Matthews, because I've been hypercritical of Auston Matthews because of the contract and everybody just anointing him as the second best player in the league, which you might want to talk to Jack Hughes about that. But like I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were trying to make the excuse that Matthews was struggling because Marner was struggling, and it's like, you think Willie needs anybody right now on his line to get anything going?
No,
that's why William Nylander is the best hockey player on this team right now, in my opinion. I don't think you could put me and you with him, and I feel like he would still be creative.
Yeah, because the guy's confidence is through the roof.
Here we are talking about Auston and Mitch 5-on-5. Like, it's not like they're like awful, but like, like we expect them to be. They're the two highest paid players on the team.
Well, hold on, we'll talk about them in a second, because I thought Keefe made some comments about them yesterday ahead of the Dallas game, but I just want to say, I don't want to leave this line for a second. I want to talk about Tyler Bertuzzi. He is somebody who I think has really he's battling an injury. The Leafs have confirmed as much. And that's his MO, man. That's his MO. Like we had wings.
Sick of that line.
But
we don't care if you're battling an injury, then sit out.
Well, it's clearly the team's decision, and he and the team have decided he's good enough to play. But he's had a difficult time.
I've not seen Tyler Bertuzzi finish a check in 7 games. For a guy who's supposed to be so physical and stay and get into the rough stuff, and I know April's a different story, but I don't think I've seen Max Domi or Tyler Bertuzzi finish a body check in 7 games so far this season.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you why you think that is.
I don't know. I thought they were supposed to be physical players who weren't afraid of the rough stuff.
So are you buying into anything to do with, like, they're still trying to find their way in a new system? Yeah, exactly. And the point I'm trying to make here is I think Bertuzzi they brought him in here to be the left winger with Matthews and Marner, but I thought he's looked pretty good in the couple of games he's been on the wing with Tavares and Nylander. And I think Nylander, to the point we were making about Tavares and what you just made about you could put you and I there, I think Nylander is on such a level right now that if you need to get a guy going, put him on that line with Willie, help him get his confidence up. And yeah, I think he's been a pretty good fit there for the couple games he's been there.
I think he's looked awful all season. He can't skate, he can't handle a puck. As soon as he gets the puck on his stick, he's swarmed immediately. Like, he cannot create any space for himself. He hasn't finished a body check all year. He hasn't done anything physical all year. I'll give him like 20 games to get going here. Like, again, like these are new guys in a new system, and we've talked about this in the past couple episodes. Like, that top power play for one of the power plays against Dallas was out there for 2 minutes. Like, so it's like you're secondary on this team. Like, that's just, you got to start with that. And I think it's going to take him and Domi a while to get used to that. But I think the easiest thing to do as a hockey player, if you want to get yourself involved in a hockey game, is finish a check. I saw Max Domi with the opportunity to finish 5 to 6 checks against Dallas. Didn't do it once. And I don't really understand that. Like,
it's gotta be mental.
Off season, we were just talking about how we love these guys because they're not afraid to get in it. They're not hitting anything.
To me, it's mental because, like I said, they're thinking. Like I mentioned in the last episode that I heard Mike Johnson on the radio say that he can see Max Domi thinking out there, and I completely agree. Like, he had the good third period with Nyes against Tampa, but yeah, I think it continues to be a mental battle for these guys. And I think it speaks to sort of the culture of this Leaf team. I think when you come in here, like, there was a lot of talk in the offseason about how they internally wanted to eliminate this narrative of the core 4, which I would say it's the core 5. You throw Morgan Rielly in there. But they wanted to eliminate that narrative. But, like, you're not eliminating that narrative. It's
impossible.
That is what this team is. This team is built around these 4, 5, 6 skilled guys. Like,
they're on the ice 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. So I think when you come in here, you have to find your spot. And to me, Bertuzzi kind of had a more clearly defined spot they had in mind for him than Domi did. It was very much like he's going to be the left winger with Matthews and Marner. And I think whether it's the injury, he struggled there. Those two guys, Keefe said it yesterday, those two guys themselves have not been great. He said yesterday he doesn't see any crisp passing between the two of them. He thinks they're working out like early season kinks. Mitch Marner, he got the goal against Dallas, but I refuse to believe that guy is fully healthy. Like, he just looks like he's...
We stop.
No, but he has to be.
But
man. He had. Like, but like, what other reason is it? Like, the guy just didn't.
I don't think
start,
he's injured, man. Like,
but the guy just didn't show up this year. Marner notoriously in his career has been someone who, like, he start like when the game is more wide open. So earlier in the season is when he's at his most dominant, and he just makes. He's back to his, like, overpassing. He's trying to make cutesy little backhand passes. Like, what happened against Dallas when he shot the puck? He scored.
Yeah, and he's been allergic to shooting the puck. Yeah, that's a fact.
And so I just don't.
He has a good shot. Like, it's like, I don't know why he doesn't shoot the puck.
He's either injured or there's something going on outside of the game that is weighing on him mentally, because, like, I don't. Like, if he was just getting squeezed out, that would be one thing. Like that's kind of what happens in the playoffs. He just tries to create and there's no room to create, so he becomes less effective. But you watch the puzzling decision-making out there, and it's just something's wrong. Something is not right there.
I mean, the guy got married, you know, he could have just had a time this offseason and just didn't really have the focus of getting in the normal shape that he's gotten in. But I when you watch Nylander play right now, like, he's stripping pucks and he's going right to the net. Like, he's cutting right to the net. He doesn't give a shit. And I find Matthews and Marner are just trying to be a little too cute. Like, they're just trying to pass it around, and then they kind of just get lost in trying to do that. And then the puck gets tipped out. Some guy intercepts a pass, and then it's out. Like, just those guys need to, like, shoot the puck more and bring it to the net a little bit more.
Well, another
That's
thing,
what Willie's unreal right now with that.
Another thing with that top line that I will say in their defense is I think they're getting a lot of defensive minutes right now, because the second line, you can't put the second line is providing tons of offense, but you're not going to put that line out there in a defensive situation. The third line, yes, you've got Kampf out there to sort of help with Nyes and Domi, but, like, the two wingers on that line are not defensive hockey players. So you've put Yarncroc, as much as I sat here and lamented them putting Calle Yarncroc up with Matthews and Marner, you've put Yarncroc up there because he helps. He's responsible defensively, and so those guys are getting a lot of face-offs in their own end right now.
Yeah, I still don't want to see that guy on that line. That is not going to be.
Well, who would you put
I want to say Matthew Nyes there, man.
Yeah.
Like Matthew Nyes, like, there's a couple like he made a bad decision on the goal against, where like Mike Johnson pointed on the broadcast, where he just kind of lazily flipped it out. He didn't skate it over center, put it in deep, and then they went and changed. There was a weird change, and then Dallas had the ability to score. So he makes some, like, weird mistakes like that sometimes. But, like, this guy shows so many flashes of, like, brilliance sometimes. Just the decisions he makes, how good he is at stripping pucks. Like, on the power play goal for Bertuzzi, the way he, like, just contorted his body and somehow kept the puck in play. And, like, that was an unbelievable play. The guy can shoot. I know he's got a lot of offense in there. And I just really want to see him get more of an opportunity because I think he can put the puck in better than Bertuzzi and Domi.
He does have a ton of offense.
I think he has a very high ceiling offensively.
So you would, but the problem is, and I think this is what Sheldon Keefe is trying to figure out, is it's clear that if Max Domi is going to provide some offense, he needs somebody to play with. He can't do it all himself.
Yeah, I feel like every team, this isn't just Leafs. I feel like the Oilers struggle with this too. It's like trying to find the right mix of spreading it all around and also loading up. Because there's those games where Draisaitl and McDavid play together, but then if you talk to anyone who watches the Oilers on a long-term basis, they say that they're at their best when Draisaitl and McDavid are split apart and they're spreading out the offense a little bit more. So I feel like every good team in the league, other than like Colorado or Vegas, because they're just absolutely ridiculous, but it's really hard to spread around the wealth. Like, usually you have two lines that are producing, or just one loaded line that's producing, and you're always trying to find more out of your third line. So I think in that sense, I know Keefe likes to just shuffle the lines all the time, but that's always going to be a fluid situation. Like, there's going to be times where a third line's contributing, and then when it's not, then you're going to start seeing kind of like different changes of like, yeah, that's a good point. Like Max Domi, he almost needs Nyes to get more points, but at the same time, it's like, I want to see Matthew Nyes get like 50 points in his rookie year and score like 20 goals because I think he's capable of doing that. And Calle Jarnkrok is just like, is he that good defensively as a winger? Like Auston Matthews is a pretty good defensive center. He's always been like, I don't know. I would just like to see Matthew Knies get more of a chance to provide offensively.
But that's the point I was trying to make is I think that first line is getting a lot of defensive responsibility and assignments right now with Jarnkrok up there because Matthews is a great 200-foot centerman. Marner's a great 200-foot player, penalty killer, and Jarnkrok's a defensively responsible player. And if you go, like I said, the second line, they're not a defensive line. They're not. The third line, you've got a centerman who is out there to try and provide some sort of defensive responsibility with two hockey players who aren't like Domi and Knies.
They also have no other center.
Yes. Like, and then you got the fourth line with Pontus, Gregor,
it's
and
just, they're
Reeves.
all kind of thrown together.
Yeah. So I think we're still seeing this juggling act happen, which I think is going to happen for a while.
All year.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen for a while. But I'm with you. I'd like to see Knies get a look on that top line. I think he's
so capable of I think he's like a really great. He has a high ceiling in terms of putting the puck in the net and creating plays. I know he's got a lot to work on. He's made some silly rookie mistakes at times, but I think if you want that line to be better 5-on-5, I think he could really help that line.
Yeah.
And he could boost his confidence at having a great rookie year, getting 50 points and getting close to 20 Genos. Like, I would like to see that for him.
Well, I think one of the things now we'll come to Mr. Joe Woll that, like, obviously him being having a .961 save percentage and looking the way he's looked is great, but one of the bigger things he's providing is he's allowing Sheldon Keefe to sort of tinker with his lines and pairings a little bit by bailing them out by making huge saves. So if they do have a shift out there where they are caught out of position or they are hemmed in or whatever, Woll is bailing them out where Samsonov was not. So when you have a goaltender who can't make a save, it sort of heightens the pressure of trying to find your line combos, trying to find your defense pairings, trying to figure out what works best. Whereas when you've got a goalie out there who is making the stops, it makes such a huge difference. And this early in the season, it's buying them time to kind of figure out, okay, what is the best way to sort of put this puzzle together?
The Toronto Maple Leafs get the goaltending they're getting from Joe Woll, which I know it's extremely difficult to keep up a .961. And ever since he came in against Tampa, I'm pretty sure he has like a .979. Like, he's been 10 out of 10 good. If this team can get that goaltending, they're going to be unstoppable in the regular season. If this guy turns out being, if he finishes the year with like a .920, .930, they are going to win the division and they are going to be an unstoppable force.
Well, I've texted you a couple times and I've said it would just be such a game changer. Listen, I've posted a couple clips on our social about Joe Woll, and you get the classic, oh, go Leaf fans. Oh, Leaf fans, guys, a couple good games, and you're ready to give them the Vezina.
You have to hope, though. You have to believe.
If Joe Woll can be a number one goalie level, no one is sitting here saying that he needs to be Andrei Vasilevsky.
Why can't Joe Woll be Aiden Hill, though?
Yeah, exactly. If no one is saying that no one is sitting here putting the pressure on this guy to be a Vasilevsky type goaltender, but if he can be a top 10 goalie in this league, that is just such a game changer for this franchise. It's such a game changer.
Game changer for any franchise, really.
And it's all, but I think also for this one, because the classic line about the Leafs is they haven't had a homegrown goalie in decades.
And also their defense is suspect at best.
Yes,
so,
yes.
I mean, there's nothing, this applies to any team in the league. There's nothing that covers up more mistakes than great goaltending.
Yeah, so I think we're all sort of proceeding with caution here, where it's like everybody just, it's really exciting. The guy has looked amazing. Without question, the best thing about him is his demeanor. And I know Samsonov is struggling, and a better version of Samsonov isn't as swimmy, but when you compare the two of them this early in the season, Samsonov is
flailing around.
It's the exact type of goalie that doesn't inspire any confidence. He looks absolutely lost out there, and you're right, he's flailing around.
Flailing around. And, Woll is just like the guy.
Steady Eddie.
Like
Steady
the guy
Eddie,
can go
man.
post to post like nothing. He looks so He looks so in control of his body.
Yes.
In the net.
Yes.
It's like ridiculous.
And confidence. Again, confidence is so important, especially from a goaltender. It permeates the rest of the team. Just like Willie Nylander's confidence is permeating through his line mates right now.
Yeah.
Woll is doing that for the Woll. You gotta say, honestly, can we just say Woll? Woll sounds so much better.
Yeah.
Especially for being a goalie, but he wants to be called Woll. His confidence is permeating through the entire team right now.
I think if you really okay, let's set the realistic expectation for this guy right now. Okay, for to me, just having this guy being a legit option is he going to win the Vezina? Like probably not. And I don't really I don't want to set that expectation on him, and nobody is. So all those people commenting being like classic Leaf fans, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is having Ilya Samsonov is not a long-term solution in the net for this team. And I don't think anyone really believed he was. It was just he came in last season. He had a good year. And just any time when you don't have a Vasilevsky type or a UC Saros type, a guy who's going to be in your net for years and years, you're just hoping that the goaltender you have plays as well as he could play. And that's what Samsonov gave them. And I believe in Samsonov. I don't think he's an elite goalie, but I think he's a good goalie. But I think the expectation for Woll is just them having a legit viable option going into the future where it's we could put this guy in the net. He's an NHL goaltender. He can make stops. It's just having a guy in your franchise, a goalie in your franchise that doesn't have a stupid contract or doesn't have an ego yet. I don't know. It's just having a legit viable goalie option in your system.
That's another thing about Woll too. He's got this year and next year at $766,000.
And I hope for his sake that he's signing a $4 million contract in 2 years because it looks like he's a UFA.
No, he's an RFA.
Oh, RFA, yeah. So yeah, he's not gonna have as much control. But yeah, it's just having we now have a goalie who's going to be in our system who's a legit option. That's something that Leaf fans can get excited about. It's something I'm excited about. And I hope that he can just continue playing on this role here.
Yeah. I mean, I know they're going back to Samsonov Saturday night in Nashville.
That's another thing. It's we're not expecting this guy to start every game. You still need Samsonov to play and play well when he's in because they still need to be a tandem.
We're also this day and age. Yeah, this day and age in the NHL,
it's a tandem
you need two goalies, and they technically have three because they've got Marty Jones down with the Marlies.
Yeah.
So it's I think I'm glad you went on that rant because I think that's so important. I think sometimes just with Leafs Nation being what it is, I think some people get super carried away, but I just think the prospect of having a goaltender who, you're right, is a viable option that can stay in this franchise and is a guy that you're confident, because even last year with Samsonov, it's they brought him in and he played well, but he was still a guy that they brought in who the Capitals gave up on, and you were kind of when is the other shoe going to drop with this guy? Whereas if Woll can string together a few months of quality goaltending here, you're right. It's just gonna the whole dynamic of this team is going to shift. Yeah, the whole dynamic of this team is going to shift.
Yeah, and then what you're praying for is he is elite. That's what you're hoping for. Every team is hoping for that for any prospect that they have, especially a goaltender. You're just hoping that the way he's playing right now, it's hey, this guy, obviously he's not going to have a 961 for the rest of the season, but he's going to be a 920 guy who's just really, really good.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think regardless, last thing here before we get out of here, I think
No. We still got to talk about one more guy.
Okay. Who do you want?
Morgan Rielly.
Oh, that's right. I was going to talk about the defense. But we can start with Rielly specifically.
Yeah.
You want to take this one?
I think Morgan Rielly almost needed this Klingberg slap in the face on the power play because the way this guy has been playing, He is 100% playing like a number one defenseman right now. His ice time is out of this world, especially with McCabe going down against Dallas. Guy was out there the entire game. Like, he has points. Like, he got 2 points against Dallas. The guy's got 5 points. Already got two.
He's
got
averaging
7 points. Got 2 goals.
He's
5
averaging
assists.
23 minutes a night.
Yeah, like the guy. You know what? I think for all the criticism that was thrown at that guy last season, I think you got to give him his props. I think so far he's their best defenseman by a mile, obviously, and I think he's playing like a number one defenseman right now. He's been that good.
Yeah, I do think the Klingberg factor is real. I also think they've brought in Klingberg. We were joking about Klingberg last week, but like they've brought in Klingberg to essentially help the defense produce more offense, which is sort of taken. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a conversation that was had between Sheldon and Rielly through training camp and in the offseason, which was, we're bringing this guy Klingberg in. He's going to take a lot of the offensive responsibility in terms of power play and what have you, and we need you to be our, like, if you look at their defense core, we need you to be our number one defenseman, and he has stepped up and he looks fantastic.
Yeah, but he's also getting points.
Exactly. And then he's just become such a he's another guy. Like, he's just figured it out there. Like, there's no bad pinches. There's no like boneheaded like jumping up into the offense. The goals he got against Dallas, he saw an opening, he took it. It's in the net.
The best part about Morgan Rielly, who I believe is going to be, I think he's a year older than me, so I think he's going to be 30 in 2024. The best part about Morgan Rielly, and the thing you never have to worry about that guy, is the guy could skate, man. Like, at the end of the day, he's always going to be a great defenseman or have the ability to be a great defenseman because the guy could just flat out wheel. And like that's what I love about him. Like, and I think there is nobody who's cheering for this guy more than I am.
Yeah.
Like I just want him to be like, talk about just like this,
and
he's been through it all.
That's
man.
why I said earlier, like, it's not the core 4, it's the core 5. He's a part of the core. He was my pick for captain before they named Tavares captain.
Yeah.
He's a leader in that room.
Absolutely.
He's like, you look around at the rest of the defense, like we don't know. Have they said yet how long Jake McCabe is going to be out? I know he's going to be out a couple of games. But if you look around the rest of that defense core, I mean, Rielly and Brody have been pretty good together.
Yeah.
Klingberg is Klingberg. Like, I'm not like, when I see people on Twitter going on about, oh my God, look at that giveaway by John Klingberg. It's like, this is what he is. Like, he's gonna chip in for offense. He's gonna quarterback the power play, and he's gonna be you're gonna have to close your eyes when he's in his own end.
Yeah.
I think they've got to be careful here. They've really got to figure this out. I think they're in danger of running into the same issue they had last year with Mark Giordano, where Giordano, he's one of their best defensemen.
He's been great. I think this guy's an animal, man. Yeah. Talk about a guy who puts his body on the line.
He's one of their best defensemen, and he did run out of gas in the playoffs last year. And so they've got to really watch him. Liljegren, I think Liljegren's okay. Like, there's some shifts where I'm like, there you go, Timothy Liljegren. And then other shifts where I'm like, come on, man. And I said this last week, and I'm going to double down on it this week. This guy has to elevate into a top 4 defenseman. Because, listen, we all think and we all hope that Treliving will make some moves towards the trade deadline to sort of bolster this defense, but like, who realistically are they going to bring in?
What do they have to give up?
Exactly.
And what is he pulling in?
Exactly. Like, who realistically, like, they're going to bring in a depth guy at best. So we need,
and they need a horse back there so badly.
So we need Liljegren to just be more consistent. I'm not saying he hasn't been bad. Before everybody freaks out at me, I'm not saying he's been bad. I'm saying shift to shift, it's a bit inconsistent for me. So I would like to see him sort of elevate and become that top 4 guy.
Yeah.
That's what they need. And
they just have a bunch of like 3 to like they don't have a number 2. Like, Rielly sometimes plays like a number 2 and not a number 1. Right now he's playing like a number 1. They don't really have a number 2. I think TJ Brody is a top 4 defenseman on most teams in this league, even though sometimes he's just like, I just watching TJ Brody handle the puck gives me stick to just doing the simplest things on the ice, because watching you handle a puck gives me anxiety. And then other than that, it's like Klingberg, Giordano, Liljegren, McCabe. They're all like 4. They all slot from 4 to 6 on like any team in the league, really. It's like,
as of this podcast, they have not confirmed if No, he is going to. No, there is concern Jake McCabe is going to miss Saturday's game at Nashville. I'm thinking it's
Connor
probably
Timmy's coming in?
No, he's hurt, man.
He's hurt?
Yes. He got hurt in training camp.
Fuck, man.
It's going to be...
It was Simone Benoit? Isn't he hurt?
Benoit. I don't think so. There you go. Here's Ryan and I aren't exactly up on our Toronto Marlies, but like we don't pretend
I'm too busy watching the games, man.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Supposed to be on Twitter every 10 seconds? I got shit to do.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what they do from that standpoint, but it's going to mean more elevated minutes for Mark Giordano, which is something they're going to have to watch later in the year. And I'm saying to him, because I know the guy's just a warrior. You watch him play, but it's like I'm saying to him as we get further into the season here, as we start to get into like Jan, Feb, it's like, Mark, you're going to start taking some nights off, buddy. Like this is.
Yeah, Connor Timmins is hurt. Looks like Simone Benoit is playing in the minors. Like I don't think he's hurt, even though he was hurt at some point. I'm pretty sure. And then other than that, they got nothing. They got absolutely nothing, man. Yeah, wow. Their depth back there. Actually, that's sad. I'm sad Connor Timmins is actually hurt because I actually think Connor Timmins is like a decent little hockey player.
Connor Timmins would have made the team out of camp if he wasn't hurt.
I think he's like a good hockey player.
Yeah.
Like I actually think he's a guy who could pass the puck and move the puck around. I talked about TJ Brody playing simple hockey. I actually trust Connor Timmins to move the puck around. I'm not saying he's a defensive animal, but kind of sad that he's hurt, but whatever. Yeah, we all know this.
What? He would have made the team at a camp if he wasn't.
We all know this team's depth is no go, and honestly, most teams in the league that are up against the cap, their depth sucks too. That's the problem with having this salary cap the way it is right now. It's just not a lot of teams have a lot of depth.
Mm-hmm. All right, buddy. I think it's time to get out of here. We'll be back.
God, that episode was better than the one on Sunday.
Yeah,
God,
we'll be back.
I was not in the mood.
We'll be back. Well, we'll be back next Friday. They got the LA Kings on Halloween night, and then they've got a stretch of interdivisional games. They've got the Bruins on Thursday, November 2nd. They've got the Sabres Saturday, Hockey Night in Canada, November 4th. They've got the Lightning the following Monday, and then they've got the Senators. So they've got a bunch of divisional games coming up here.
Yeah, I mean, if they can continue to get good goaltending, if their top players like Nylander and Tavares can keep scoring, they're going to be a formidable hockey team, man. Like that's just if they get the goaltending, I'm telling you, this team they're going to do damage.
I do want to just get your quick opinion on the 1-5-1 Edmonton Oilers.
Like, I mean, I feel I'm not going to I have nothing, I have no ill will to the franchise itself. Like, I actually do feel bad that they're off to this start.
McDavid's hurt.
They have no goaltending.
Yeah,
their goaltending is, if you're Ilya Samsonov would be starting for them in 1 millisecond if he was their goalie. But I have to laugh at the fan base. Yeah. I'm sorry, Oilers fans. It's just, your fan base has been the most spoiled fan base in the history of the NHL, and I have no sympathy for you. But for Kenny Holland and some of the guys in that organization, I kind of feel bad.
Yeah.
The team, again, a top-heavy team, no depth, man.
No depth.
It's hard to have
sus
depth
goaltending,
in this league, man.
Sus goaltending.
Oh,
yeah, sus goaltending. Yeah,
terrible.
All right, buddy. Just wanted you to comment on that pretty quick, and now we're going to get out of here. Thank you very much, everyone, for checking us out. If you like what you see, hit that like and subscribe button below.
Spread the word. Tell your friends.
If you're listening to the audio version, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, leave a review, 5-star review. We really appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, please. It helps us out. Ryan and I are here. Whether you love us or you hate us, you got to respect that we're here every week pumping out content. So it takes 1 millisecond to hit that like button. Please go ahead and do so. We'll see you guys next time.